Welcome to Parenting is Final Fantasy. I'm Drew Kreisman.
And I'm Ira Kreisman.
And on this episode, Ira asks me more questions. I'm just going to say that at the beginning of everyone, as though it's new.
Sure, yeah.
We do the thing we did last time, where you ask me questions about being a dad, and I do my best to answer them.
Excellent.
So let's do that.
Fantastic.
What you got?
On a scale of 1 to 10...
Oh, no. I'm going to be bad at this already.
Or whatever scale you prefer to inject. How much laundry have you done in the last 6 months?
47.
How has your laundry game changed since having a baby?
A lot. As you well know, and I'm sure this is not unique to my child, but he sure is good at it. He spits up a lot. Mm-hmm. Right? He's a very messy baby in very many ways. And so he's going through onesies and I'm going through shirts. I don't change every time, but for some of the, for the big ones, you get certainly comfortable walking around with a certain amount of milk on you or just...
Yeah, I'm not sure sure I do.
Sure.
But I understand how you might.
Right. There's a level, like a lot of things in dadness or babyhood. There are just many levels and degrees to which, obviously, before having a baby, if I had spilled something on myself, I would change immediately. I would clean up immediately. Mm-hmm. And when we first had him, that was the process. Oh, he just spit all over me. I'm gonna change my shirt, as any normal person would. But then you realize there's a decent chance he's going to spit up on you again in 10, 20, 30 minutes.
Sure.
Back to your question of how much laundry do you really want to do?
Okay. All right. So it has increased, but it could increase more if you didn't get comfortable with...
Again, a certain amount. I don't want people thinking I'm going around in there. It's like once you're damp, you can't walk around damp, right? But
right.
It's something that you can towel off good enough. The number of times I've found that I've gone down to the brewery or walked him over to the library or something and looked over at my left shoulder, because that is where I tend to kind of prop him up, and then I'll be like, oh dude, you're shirt is a mess. I'm like, well, mm-hmm. It is what it is. But no, the laundry, there's a lot more of it. It seems like there's always laundry going on. To get fully autobiographical here, we have had to sometimes become those people where all the clean laundry just goes into the room over here and sits on the bed for a while, and it's just out there, like the folding it and putting it away oftentimes ends up getting pushed down the priority list, because you need clean stuff. You can't not do that.
Right. Well, Kelly and I do that, and we don't have, it's just the two of us.
Sure.
We've got a couch full of clean laundry.
You've got like a room for that. Mm-hmm. Right. So yeah, we try to be, and so one very specific thing that has happened on these parameters is, I've always been okay at helping with the doing of the laundry part, but like I said, Katie has this method for folding that she learned from like one of those tidy up shows.
Sure.
That was really popular a while ago. And it's just something I never learned to do. And so she's mostly been the laundry folder for the span of our relationship. And I've had to, I'll do like the hang up stuff. Everything that can be hung up on a hanger. That's where you hang
that's
things.
The one. Yep.
That's the word I was looking for. The one I had already said 3 times in the sentence. And so, that was the extent of my usefulness a lot of times. Or socks, right? You can fold socks.
Yeah. You don't fold your socks, Drew?
Well, no, I do. Those are the things I could.
Oh, okay. That's the one you feel like you can do. Okay.
It's very easy, right? But her methodology is actually super great. And I've just committed myself to learning that since Locke was born, so that I can do that part, because I am the one who's here during the day. And so, a lot of that kind of housework has ended up falling to me, which is fine. It's not something to complain about. I know for a lot of people, it's it can be like overwhelming. And of course, we're way past the like, oh, dad does the dishes, meh, meh, type of societal whatever. Like, you know, but yeah, the laundry is probably the most overwhelming of the chores. I can stay on top of the dishes. You know, I can do that stuff. I can even throughout the day find time to cook, but I feel like laundry with a baby, you're always half doing things or doing thing a little bit, and then you got to go pick them up or whatever. And with laundry, I feel like that's hard for whatever reason in my brain. It's just you got to do it all at once, and so I need him to like sleep for an hour so I can fold laundry for an hour.
Sure.
So I fold it for 10 minutes and leave it there. It's also probably the pets. If I fold something for 10 minutes and I leave it on the couch, the dog's going to knock it over. The cat's going to go and lay on it. And now all of our clean laundry is covered in cat hair.
Right. Yeah.
Which has happened a few times. So, yeah, long answer to the laundry question, but.
So, as you just alluded to, you are largely a stay-at-home dad, right?
Yeah.
What's that routine like?
Yeah, that's interesting, right? So, I mean, he gets me up basically every day at 7, right as mom leaves the house. He's up, so we get up every day at 7 o'clock. He's pretty good in the mornings, but you know, it's you feed him, you do the diapers, you put on some Miss Rachel and stuff like that, as we talked about before. Some Sesame Street. I have started doing Elmo, by the way, since last we talked. We've Elmo. There's a great video where Elmo and friends at Sesame Street teach you to do the alphabet in Spanish.
Oh, nice.
And I realized that at 38 years old, this was the first time I had ever heard anybody sing the alphabet in Spanish.
Huh. Cool.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
Did you not take Spanish in high school?
I did not, no.
I took French. What did you do? And Latin, actually.
I did the far more valuable and pragmatic thing of taking a couple of years of Japanese in college.
Right. Okay. That's right.
Right? That's what. How does that not help me in everyday life? But yeah, so we've been doing, you know, a lot of that stuff. And I think, as I alluded to last time, the first several months really did feel like he was always fussing. It was difficult to get him to go to sleep. A lot of the days got really long. There was somebody, I can't remember who said this to me, and that's part of baby brain and dad brain as well. But they said they're the longest days, but the shortest years. And it was a mom who'd been through it, who was just telling me that. And it already feels that way, that he's coming up on 7 months old. And I feel like a lot of those days, you know, you'd ask me, well, what did you do today? And I go, I don't know, man. I just tried to get him to take a nap. I did some dishes. I tried to get some laundry done. And that's a lot of times what it feels like, is you're trying to do things. I have gotten back into the swing of doing some work now. I, you know, was able to do the social media stuff that I do for the brewery. Was a lot easier in the early days. Now that he's calming down a bit, I'm getting back to Mile High Sports. I'm writing articles and doing those podcasts again. So that works out nicely. But the days are essentially, he determines the flow of the day. Right? Okay. When he's calmed down or when he's decided to fall asleep, that's when I can hop on the mic and record a podcast, do an article, maybe edit some video, do the dishes, do the laundry. Those are my daily duties, and whatever, you know, I just sort of cycle whatever needs to be most done to the top of that list, and I do it whenever he allows me to do it. And there are days where he doesn't really allow you to do anything, which is, and it's weird to try to recount to somebody, you know. I remember going down to the brewery after, like, in the second or third month after a particularly long week, and, you know, our friend Robbie asking me, like, hey man, what have you been up to? The most normal question in the world. You know? And I was just like, I have no idea, man. I don't even know. I've kept this small human being alive for the last 3 days.
Yep.
You know?
But you do take him.
We're evening out.
I was going to say, you take him out, right? You go places, and he falls asleep unless that's changed in the last couple of months.
Right. So the closest thing that we have gotten to a dynamic there is, like I said, he's gotten to where he's pretty good throughout the mornings. And then it's crapshoot in the afternoons. And if it gets back to levels of degrees, sometimes I can coax him into a nap. Sometimes I can get him to watch stuff on TV while I work. Or sometimes it's just, hey, let's hang out today. We're going to do tummy time. We're going to play with toys. It's your day. Cool, right? But then, yeah, the trick for... So I pair these two things up because I do want to get him out of the house. I want him to go and do things in general anyway. But also, yeah, it's the one thing that 100% of the time, I shouldn't even say that, knock on wood. Everybody out there, say a little prayer for me. But yeah, we put him in the stroller, we take him to the library. We live within walking distance of the library, the art museum, and the history museum. Our mother was gracious enough throughout the holiday season to get us season passes for the art museum and the history museum, also the zoo, which we have to drive to, so we haven't been back there yet. But it's getting to the point where they know him at the library.
That's awesome.
We roll in there in the stroller usually around 2 or 3 o'clock because I haven't been able to get him to go to bed in that post-lunch time. And that's a good time for me to go get an hour of work done at the library because I read him one book in the kids section, which is phenomenal here at the Denver Public Library.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
It's so great. Newly renovated. It's remarkable. He usually falls asleep, and then I can go over to the graphic novel section, or I can go up to they've got an archives and genealogy section, and I've been doing a lot of that and working on a project that I want to talk more about in the future. But yeah, so that stuff has been great. And even though, again, I feel like I maybe jinxed myself into this, I do remind myself, and I say to Katie every time, I'd rather have it this way, where we can take him out, where we can take him places. He's calm, he's happy, he enjoys meeting strangers, he enjoys being out in the hustle and bustle of life, and we live right in the middle of the city, but then when he comes home, he gets a bit restless, and it can be difficult getting him to go to bed and things like that. It's like, it's still better than the other way around, where if he was great in the house, but we could never take him anywhere.
Sure.
I feel like that would be almost more stressful in certain ways.
My last question for you. You got and I'm going to use heavy air quotes here, new car.
Yeah. Right.
So along those lines, what's it like to drive somewhere, but now you have a baby?
Yeah.
Right? That's like you've got to Samwise Gamgee your backpack up before you can even leave the house, right?
Right. So I don't want to pick on anyone here, and everybody does things their own way. But I will say, we took a vacation many years ago at this point. Katie and I did out to stay with her brother and his wife. Wonderful, wonderful people. And they have 2 amazing daughters who love my son. By the way, they got to meet. It's little girls with a baby is just the most adorable thing on the planet.
Excellent.
And they're great. But we went with them to the beach one day. They live in California, and it took them, in my recollection, an hour and a half to get out of the car. No, it wasn't. It was probably like 10 minutes or something. They had, all these contraptions. They had their stuff. And like I said, everyone's got their ways of doing things. I'm sure for them, their system worked, right? But we were both kind of like, yeah, we're going to need to be a little quicker than that in and out of the car. We're going to have a more compact kind of system, right? So, yeah, we've got a great little car seat, a great little stroller that folds up nicely, fits into everything, diaper bag, backpack. Did you guys buy the backpack?
That might have been one of our aunts.
Okay, yeah. And it's a great tool as well, and you put a change of clothes in there, some diapers, some wipes, and you're good to go. And like I said, he's really good when he's out, so a lot of times, I would say 80 to 90% of the time, we don't even need the backpack. He's fine until we get home. So, and he's really great about going out, so we're pretty good at getting in and out of the car. But you drive slower and more carefully than you ever have in your life when you've got a little one back there, and let's go, man, we should all be driving like this. There are a number of ways in which I've had that thought since having a kid. Like, we should probably all drive like there's a baby in the car. There would be a lot fewer accidents. Or I've even noticed just people are generally a little bit kinder to you when you have a baby with you, when you're walking around with a small child strapped to your chest and you go into the pizza place. People might notice you and actually get out of your way, whereas in normal life they wouldn't. If you're in the grocery store and you've only got a couple things in your hands, oh, you go first. You got the baby. You go right on ahead, right? And I've thought several times, like, who's incredibly kind? I thought about writing an article about this, and I don't know if there's enough meat on the bones here, but smokers.
Interesting.
We walk around the city, right?
Yes, I've seen this. Okay.
And I have noticed, again, probably 95+% of the people who are walking by smoking either a cigarette, or we're in Denver, Colorado, so whatever they got, they see us, they see we've got a stroller, or we've got the baby strapped, and they go out of their way. They'll hold it way out to make sure that no smoke is coming near us. I've seen people walk into the street a little bit, to get completely out of our way. And I find that really interesting, right? Because I'm not sure that people would, if you're just categorizing people by just that one thing, smokers, that anyway, what a kind group of people.
Sure.
Necessarily,
The first time I saw that, it was a lady had walked, she was going to walk by us on the sidewalk, and instead she went around a couple parked cars to get around us. And I was like, that was odd. Why did she do that? And I think it was you or Katie said, oh, because we've got a baby and they're being polite. And I would never have thought of that. That's really interesting.
Yeah. And so that's maybe an extra thing for sure, for a baby. I don't expect people to walk in the street and get out of my way, just me all the time. But I have had several thoughts of, like, it's interesting the way people are just a bit kinder. Even in the fact that it's a conversation starter. People come up at the library, at the museum, people will ask, how old is your baby? He's got beautiful eyes. What is his name? And now you're having a conversation with a stranger, and a very kind one. And it just strikes me that, like, public life would be very different if everyone always treated everybody else as though they had a baby with them. Thanks for listening. Make sure you're subscribed to all of the stuff, especially the Everything is Final Fantasy YouTube page. And we'll see you next time. One on meow.
All right.
2,
well,
meow.
The cat can,
Sure. Kitten. Do you want to go? Come in. You can go wherever you want to go. There. I'll just leave that ajar.
Probably serves more of a function as a door.
Yeah. All right. Jesus Christ. I'll be making the dad jokes around here, buddy.
I have no doubt.
Yeah. All right.